And here we go. It's another edition of Rock Talk right here on CGCM Rock Radio, where we talk rock because that's how we roll. My name is Bob Bannister, and today joining us out of Phoenix, Arizona, two parts of the band Escape the Hive. We've got Michael and we have got Paul joining us. How you doing, guys?
Good. Real good.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're quite welcome. And like I was telling you, Michael, and I still have to find you that little bit of a list that I have there. Your album, This Is Gonna Sting, made it into my top 20 albums of 2023.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. And, you know, I'm always on the hunt for new music. And I remember I was going around my YouTube music and my Spotify and stuff like that, just looking and digging and digging and digging. And this came up and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to give this a listen to. I listened to it and I didn't stop listening to it.
Way cool. That was our plan all along.
There you go. Some crazy guy up in Canada is going to listen to this and really enjoy it.
Look somewhere. Your name's in the credits. I'm sure it's going to
be. Yeah, exactly. But off that, you released 3 singles, Separate Lives, In Between, and It's Not All Right. All amazing tracks, I got to say that. But 2 of them, 2 songs off the album, my absolute hands down favorite. Your kickoff track, I Can See It.
Which we actually have, if you haven't seen it, but the irony of that. The track I Can See It actually has a brand new video that's up on YouTube. When we release it? Middle of July? Yeah.
Okay, very cool. And with that being said, I'll find the link and I'll put it up here or maybe down here. Yes.
The first full video we did was for Separate Lives, and that was for, great track. We really loved the video. It came out great. A little more serious on the video end
Content,
of it. Yeah, on the content.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do that with this. Yes, and there might possibly be aliens involved.
Okay. Well, you live in the right area. Yeah. But then there's the other track that really caught me on my first listen, because I'm a huge fan of a little band from Liverpool that you might have heard of called the Beatles.
Oh, the Beatles! That's
yes.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me the story of doing something.
Go ahead.
Well, it was actually our guitar player's idea. He had a great arrangement for it that he had been saving for a while and
just never used.
Yeah, had some feedback on it, like, wow, you got to put this out. And we were looking for an 8th track. We had a couple that we were writing, and he's like, well, just give this a listen. It's a different, sort of a different feel. But the first thing I thought when I heard it, he's like, man, this is so us.
Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah,
it came out sounding like us.
But at first, I think both of us were like, I don't know if we want to touch the Beatles, like that could go several different directions. But the way it came together
and that's the thing too. I mean, it fits seamlessly into the album.
That's what we thought. It like he said, it kind of happened all at once. We had a couple other songs that might be on the next record. We've already been in the studio recording the next record, so which will probably be out sometime next year. But one or I think 2 of them are going to go on This Is Gonna Sting. And then when we heard something, it just like, this is better than our stuff.
Yeah, I think those guys from Liverpool kind of knew how to do things right.
They had something going on for sure.
Decent songwriters.
So what's the backstory of Escape the Hive?
Well, the backstory is, anytime that most musicians join a band, at least I think, you're putting out music or putting out songs that you want to hear, whether it's, in whatever genre. And you're putting out stuff that either you want to hear because you want to hear it, and or you're putting it out because there really isn't anything like it out there that you want to hear that's like it.
Mhm.
And although, we're definitely, the two of us are very much into the 70s classic rock vibe. So that's what you get out of it. And that was kind of a given because of that. We also really wanted to, instead of a lot of the retro sounding rock that comes out that's very Bad Company or Zeppelin sounding, and I love that stuff too. We wanted to go a different route. We wanted to take on the Boston Journey, Foreigner, the other side of the 70s that for some reason doesn't get a lot of love for whatever reason. So we kind of fashioned it after that with the idea of being that kind of songwriting, but we wanted a big footprint guitar player. I've been lucky enough to place with some really great guitar players. Paul has as well. So, when we got Conrad, it was a great fit because he's got a big foot.
Now you were mentioning some of the bands that have inspired you, and maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of got a little taste of some AC/DC in there as well. Would I be wrong on that?
Yes, you'd be wrong. I'm not going to argue with what you hear, especially if it's AC/DC. I mean, that's them and the Beatles are a pretty good track record.
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So where'd the name come from, Escape the Hive?
Oh man, we threw around 152 different names.
154.
Yeah.
You were keeping track, were you?
I was.
Like I'm all being like a verb the noun. Like it seems like that combination, verb the noun, works. And we played on several different things, and
you start with one word, and those are all taken.
Right.
Every single one. And you go to 2 words, those are all taken too. And then you go to 3 words, and most of those are taken. So searching, and I kind of came up with something with the Hive, and I think we kind of came up with Escape the Hive together. I don't know where it came from.
Right.
It somewhere in the ether, but it landed. Okay with that.
Well, it definitely works. And you said new music coming possibly next year?
Yeah, we're already in the studio. We're about halfway done with the new record. Really excited about it. That we've been playing pretty much all the songs that we have recorded. We're playing live, so the fans get a taste of the new record. It gives us a chance to kind of work stuff out a little more organically. We just wrote another one last week, and haven't recorded it yet, but we haven't played it live either. So it's a progression of what we were already doing. It's very song oriented, but it's also got some, I don't want to say progressive touches, but there's stuff for a musician in there.
Yeah. there's some musicianship.
Yeah, for sure. As much as we can pull off it.
Right.
Now you've been touching on your live show and stuff like that, but what can a fan expect when they go to see Escape the Hive live?
It's no 2 shows are ever really the same, even if it's the same set list. We kind of do things in a different way. The crowd kind of feeds most of it. And that kind of determines where it's going to go. There's a fair amount of crowd participation in some of the songs, so we really like to get the crowd involved. So that's a huge part of it. But I mean, it's again, we are doing 70s music, and to present a 70s rock band in a boring way would be stupid.
Right. us thrive on stage. So,
Yeah.
you know, with the big personalities on stage, we like to, nobody's just kind of standing in the corner pedaling away.
Not very often.
Yeah.
Except for Mike and
Oh, man.
we have our doubts about that. So
Well, you know, energetic. We leave it all on stage. It's cliche as that, but we like to put on the show, entertain the crowd. You know,
Yeah.
if you're playing something cool, hold the bass up and, you know, play it.
yeah, it's
Conrad and I come together a lot. And
it's a very interactive show. It's like I said, it's there's a lot of things that are, you know, even if it's the same set list, it's always a little different.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, it's safe to assume, or not safe to assume, I'm going to say it's safe to say we are in the midst of a rock revival. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And what's the music scene like? What's the rock scene like in Phoenix?
It's pretty good. I mean, we have. I'll give you an example, a perfect example of the rock scene in Phoenix. You know, we don't play here all that often.
Right.
We're in the midst of trying to buy a band. We've got a GoFundMe going on right now to kind of help out with that and some expenses. To tour more and to tour further and to tour further. But we occasionally have a show here in Phoenix, and we have one coming up September 20th. We were at a place here in Phoenix called Cactus Jacks, a great club that we've played before. Great PA, great sound man, great lights, great. And we, in putting together this show, we got, you know, we're discussing other bands to be on the bill, and we got two really great original bands from Arizona, a band called Whiskey Dogs and a band called Adam's Fall. And both are, you know, notable bands from here in Arizona, and both tour as well. And when they found out that we were doing this thing for the van to wanted to try and get it road ready, they all threw their names and or their pride and money in the hat and said, hey, you know, you guys take all the proceeds from the show, and we're putting it all toward that. So that is what a music scene should be. And
absolutely
part of that. Those guys are number one in our books, and I'm just overwhelmed a little bit by the generosity of that, but that's what a scene is all about.
That really kicks ass. Absolutely. Now, I'm a huge radio junkie. I always have been. And that's the reason why I've been in radio for well over 20 years. It's in my blood. Did you guys have that moment when you were growing up where it's like, I got to be a musician. This is what I'm meant to be?
Yeah, I think my moment was, I was probably 9 years old. And I grew up with older siblings. So my sister was in her room, and
that's how it always started.
Yeah. She put on Jukebox Hero.
Oh yeah.
And I was doing something in my room, and all of a sudden I was like, what is that? And I sat against her door and listened to the whole song. What I gotta do. I mean, that's it.
Mine was Kiss. I mean, like a lot of guys my age, I may or may not be slightly older than Paul. But mine was Kiss. 75 was the Paul Lynde show. You know, the Halloween special. I mean, half the guys my age that are musicians saw that and decided to become musicians that night. Me, I went, what the hell is that? I want to do that.
Yep, I totally get that. So guys, if I was to come over to your places and start going through your record collections, your music collections, do you have an album that is like a guilty pleasures album that I would hold up and go, guys, what's this?
No.
But Yeah.
I have several. I mean, I don't, again, we both kind of grew up on 70s radio and 70s rock. And the great thing about 70s rock is it wasn't really all rock. It was,
No.
Christopher Cross and Dan Fogelberg and Little River Band and the Carpenters and,
Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt, the band
Carole
King.
King.
Yeah, Carole King. In fact,
Mhm.
we make a really cool version, I think, of Make the Earth Move Live. It kind of like we did with something. So that's in the set. So it's a, 70s rock it was all about the songwriting instead of being about the genre. And
Mhm.
I think that's kind of where Escape the Hive lives. It's more about the song than it is the genre. We're definitely in the rock category, hard rock, 70s style hard rock, but the song is much more important to us than the solo, the bridge, anything.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hit stratospheric note going into the guitars. I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you were touching on some really great classic rock there. And there's one memory that sticks in that's just absolutely stuck in my brain. I was probably about 6, I think. I want to say 6. And I heard Seals and Crofts, Summer Breeze. And I remember it because it was in the middle of the summer. And yeah, great song. And now I hear that and I'm instantly 7 years old all over again,
I'm a huge yacht fan, and that is a yacht rock staple.
Yeah.
Cross, yeah. Atlanta Rhythm Section.
Oh, the Rhythm Section is another one. That's one of my favorite bands, actually.
And you mentioned Christopher Cross, and not too many people realize though that guy's a hell of a guitar player. You listen to Ride Like the Wind, and the end of the song where it's kind of fading out and the background singers are singing over it. There is a killer guitar solo behind there. And not too many people realize that.
Another big one that isn't 70s but more 80s, and that is kind of along the lines of what we're talking about is Toto.
Yeah.
Great top tier musicians, but it was more about the song. And we want to keep that 80s kind of flash alive, but it's definitely within a 70s songwriting context for sure.
Absolutely awesome. Now, before we wrap this up, guys, I like to do a little thing called This or That. Just fire some rapid choice questions at you and just give me your honest answers and we'll go from there. All right?
I don't think today is the day to be honest.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday. All right. CD, cassette, or vinyl?
Vinyl, please.
Spicy food or sugary treats?
Spicy food.
Spicy food, but I'm gonna pay for it. So
iced coffee, iced tea, or iced water?
Sure. Hot coffee. That's kind of my thing.
Okay. Pool, beach, or water park?
Beach.
Oh, beach for sure. Yeah. The real thing is always better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Video games, board games, or card games?
Video games.
Board games.
All right. And finally, sometime down the road, they're going to make a movie of you guys. They're going to make a movie of Escape the Hive. Who plays you?
That's up to us, is it? Boy, you got me with that one. I don't know. I mean, I would. I don't know who's got my hair.
That's a good one.
The Hollywood prosthetics team. They can do anything.
Yeah, but it's gotta be real, man.
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, My wife would say Orlando Bloom, so we'll go with that.
Well, if he's still alive, you can use Paul Williams.
Paul Williams plays himself. Oh, that's great.
My wife said for me for that one, she said either Mark Ruffalo or Ed Harris. I said I've got Ed Harris's hairline.
Hey, yeah, you nailed it.
So we have to go with that one.
The wife gets it by default all the time. That's the way it works.
Finally, guys, what's your website?
It is escapethehiveofficial.com, and you can get to our Linktree account. You can get to the GoFundMe page, and thank you to all who have donated so far. We're about a third of our way to our goal, and we're kind of trying to put the gas on that. I think we might be the first one that we've admitted this to. I think we found a band. So it's a little early, and we already found one, but it's a cool church van that's pretty well maintained, and the guy's holding it for us for a little while. So we're going to try and jump on that with some help from all of you.
Yeah.
There we go. We're going to put the link right down here.
Perfect.
Right there. Yeah, we'll flash that up there and get that going there for you.
EscapeTheHiveOfficial.com. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Michael and Paul from Escape the Hive, thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk right here on CGCM Rock Radio.
Hey, thanks so much for having us, man.
You're quite welcome. And thank you for joining us. We'll catch you again next time on another edition of Rock Talk.